I'm calling from Onitsha.
Thank you very much.
I'm calling from Onitsha.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Director, yesterday when you talk about this people arresting our people, I was very, very furious where I was. I think the reason why they are doing this is because maybe they are just doing it and they are not getting our revenge.
No, not at all. Let me tell you why they're doing it. Hold on. I want to tell you why they're doing it. They want to provoke us.
Yeah.
So that they don't want us. Listen, they know that the method we are using is hurting them. They know that the world is beginning to be aware of Biafra and what we are doing. So what they want to do is to cut it short. If they force us now to retaliate, Britain, BBC, and because they have the money, they have given money to BBC already. BBC will say, oh, a new terrorist group has emerged. The world will be focusing on that terrorist group. That will be IPOB. They will ban us and our activities all over the world. They will say, oh, stop them, stop their money, everything. That's what they're looking for. Because that is what Britain actually asked them to do. Britain knows what is happening now to IPOB members on the ground. What they want to do is go and kill them, go and harass them, go and arrest them. You then force them to become angry that they retaliate. Once they retaliate, we as Britain can go to the world and say, IPOB is a terrorist group. Please, can you stop their funding, stop everything that you're doing, ban them wherever they are, and they can stop us. But as soon as we keep on raising the awareness to the level whereby the world will say, but why are you doing this to these people? When we strike, British lives will no longer be purchased by anybody. So we know what we are. I have lived in England, so I know what I'm doing. We know them. I know the way they think.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, because thank you for the sign I explained to us, because if it is in my mind, I would have said let's take this back to them. But I think the way you explain it matters a lot to us. We understand. And what I'm saying is that I think one day, anytime, Director, I think we should march on the treaty as these people did on the last day. This is our brother, they shot on Saturday to clear. If they tell everybody, let me say, every activity on the Canada, we are going to share flag that come out. On that day, we did meeting in the Bosia, but none of us know that they are going to march. Let me say that they announce it or let us know that we are going to share flag on Sunday, that everybody should come out. So the kind of crowd that we see on the street like this, nobody will have even the mind to even raise a gun or whatever. Understand? I think why they do those things, because they see those people and they think that they are just more that they can do it. I think any day we can move around again, they should let us know, let us come out and move.
We shall do that. What you're saying is correct. I'm not cutting you short. I want you to understand this. They wanted to assassinate me in Aba on the 30th of May, right? They wanted to kill me in Aba on the 30th of May. But when they saw the amount of people there, it will be suicidal for everybody in uniform in the whole of Abia State to fire a gun that day. Suicidal. Exactly. Because if we decide, had I given the command to that very crowd to march from there to any police station, we will kill all of them in Aba. They saw the crowd and they ran away. They couldn't do anything. So what we are trying to say is that I don't want us to release or to come out and begin to give up our strategy. But let me tell the world something. They are dealing with people who are educated. The Britain is the mastermind behind everything happening in the zoo. They are the mastermind. Even I will accuse Britain till tomorrow morning of helping the rise of Boko Haram to make sure that Jonathan is replaced by an HAUSA man. I can tell you that. Now, there is a way that they think. They control the news, because if we do anything now without us filtering into the consciousness of the world, because they use what is called media inoculation. That's what Britain does with America. They use CNN and BBC to inoculate their people, that their people become very foolish. If you watch the conservative conference that's been going on because before they open the parliament every blessed year, they have party conference season. You will hear the way they speak. Anybody who doesn't know Bashar al-Assad, if you listen to Theresa May, who is the Home Secretary, you will think that Assad is a demon from somewhere else out of this world. But there was something that the Russian Foreign Ministry spokesman said. He said, If the people being supported by the British, which are the terrorists, if they are good people, how come Christians are running from the areas that they are controlling into the areas being controlled by Assad forces? That tells you all in it. But if you hear them talk about Assad, you will think Assad is a demon. And anything they say, that is what BBC will carry. If BBC carries it in over 250 languages all around the world, people will hear and say, okay, is that the case? So we want to be able to match them at their game, supersede them. Any day the world, it sinks into the whole world that every Nigerian is a thief, who have won this very battle. I'm telling you, anything Britain tells them about this, they will say it's a land of criminals. Please, what people are saying is correct. So our people must know that we are learned. We know what we are doing.
Yeah.
If we strike now, believe you me, Britain will succeed. Once they label us terrorists, they'll be sucking our oil and gas forever and ever. We don't want that to happen. We want to defeat them at their own game.
Please.
Go ahead.
I want to ask you a question, please. This is like now Britain are taking charge of this as they are now the people who are conducting this corruption charges for Buhari in Britain. If any Britain person came to
Announcement. Here comes a great gathering of the people from the West African region. Amazonia, Biafra, Oduduwa, living across the entire globe, the entire world. Coming from different parts of all the continents of the world to Brussels, Belgium, to march in great mass and in great multitude. All hail Biafra. Long live Amazonia. Freedom for Oduduwa Republic. United we stand and shall never fall. With one vision and joint strength, the land of Belgium will feel the heat of this war.
eziokwu ọ na-abụ ofe jụọ oyi esitụnụ ya n'ọkụnụ n'iya ha gbara kpọmkwem abalị 27 nke ọnwa anọ n'afọ 2022 anyị nọ n'ime ya ka mmachibido nke Nnamdi Fulani ịbata na ịgagharị n'ala Biafra niile ga-akwasị igbodo ma kpụrụkpọ ọkụ n'ọnụ. Ndị anyị na-akpa ehi Igbo ewu maọbụ atụrụ ga-ahụ na ha ga-etinye ya n'ọgba ebe a na-azụ ehi atụrụ nke nwa bekee kpọrọ ranch n'asụsụ bekee, ebe ọgba ọzụzụ ndị a niile ga-enwe akara ejirimara maka ngụkọ bụ ịgba.
This is the greatest crime upon humanity, that we told people there is a better place than this. This is a crime, because this is not allowing human beings to live their life to their full depth and dimension, because they think the real life is elsewhere. Now, do you have any proof that you are not already in heaven and making a mess out of it? This is the greatest crime upon humanity, that we told people there is a better place than this. This is a crime, because this is not allowing human beings to live their life to their full depth and dimension, because they think the real life is elsewhere. Now, do you have any proof that you are not already in heaven and making a mess out of it?
So, there seems to be a sense of either denial and on one part, or people who think, no, it won't be, because we can't just imagine it. And because of some discussion that, okay, if this happens, you will lose your property, you will lose that, and so on. Of course, that is untenable. I mean, I too was wrong on this, because if by any chance you have another state of Biafra, it will be the 16th state of ECOWAS. And that means you have free movement of goods and persons. But the fundamental question, the fundamental issue is that this debate is not happening. This whole thing is being driven almost in a haphazard manner. Last week, they called for, was that last week? Yeah, last week. They called for a seat sit at home. And even without anybody getting out or more in force and so on, I learned virtually Anambra and many other cities were completely shut down. It just tells you there is something going on. But again, where is elite in this? What is missing is structured debate and apparent elite aloofness or complicity or hypocrisy. Elite in denial. For the politicians who think you can just, let's use them temporarily, let's use them. Just go on while we can then use that to negotiate for something here. I can tell you, you will create a monster that will consume you. When that inferno comes, both us, everybody else, and the kind of thing that happened in Biafra where any dissent was considered a saboteur. Okay? You might get to a point where you will be telling them, just go on while we can negotiate here, get something for ourselves in Abuja. I can tell you, these guys are no fools. At some point, they will look at you too and know that you're actually part of the problem. And so on and so forth. So, I say, let the debate must begin. The late Dr. Pius Okibo, in this book as well, presented what the memo by late Dr. Pius Okibo presented to the Biafran government on the economic viability of Biafra. Nobody is talking about what the currency will look like. How will you fare with international trade? What kind of constitution are you talking about? And Affordable forcefully argues here that the Ahira Declaration of 1969 came too late. They had intelligentsia pushing for Biafra, but there was no organized structure. That if they had done what they did towards the end of the war at the beginning, Biafra would not have ended the way that it did. But what is shocking is people talk about this in their bedrooms and in their parlors, and then you come out and everybody is and so on. I'm sure it will not take long. So what I'm calling is that we must, the elite, the intelligentsia, get out of the closet and let us, now that the issue, the president in New York made a point. He said there will be no referendum in Biafra. Now, and I said, my reaction to it was, oh my God. So this matter has actually gotten to the point where we are now talking whether to have referendum or not to have referendum. The moment you've reached that point, it tells you that it's only a matter of time. But who is driving the debate? The Neo-Zikism, Neo-Biafranism, and so on and so forth.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, great Biafrans and lovers of freedom. This is Radio Biafra HAUSA-SERVICE coming to you through the auspices of Radio Biafra London. My name remains Mazi Chinedu from Olo province of Biafra land, and today is the 7th day of May in the year of our Lord 2022, being Saturday. Today is loaded, honestly speaking. I have with me here one of us, an attorney by profession, who is going to also put clarity on the fake news that has been going on in the Nigerian media, the mischievous twisting of the reality, because this is how Nigeria rolls. They are structured to lie, nothing more. Also, I am also here with my comrade, Wada Marian T. Heather, with who I am going to discuss on religious issues, as usual, our weekly discussion about religion. The topic of today will continue being paganism. Paganism part 2. Paganism Part 2. So that is it. So please do not miss this broadcast. We are also live on Radio Biafra page, Facebook page. They are not notifying people automatically. That is Facebook, is their thing. So it doesn't matter. Please join. Don't wait for notification, because they are not going to notify you. Therefore, once again, I welcome each and every one of you to welcome your friends and well-wishers in this hallowed platform. Before I continue, please let us pray.
Chukwu Abiyama alone do we worship. That is why we offer him praise. That is why we offer him adoration and adulation. That is why we have come to submit all that we are today, likely to be tomorrow, and any time in the future, to the mercy and the grace of the throne of heaven. Therefore, Chukwu Okike Abiyama, ekekele igwe n'ụwa basibi n'igwe, nna eze onye ebube, na ngozi na n'otuto na n'ịja mma niile, onye nwe m na Chineke. Anyị na-akpọku aha nsọ nke gị. Anyị na-erubere gị isi, na-akpụ isi ala nye gị, n'ihi na onweghị onye ọzọ anyị ga-efe ma ọ bụ naanị gị Jehova. Only you are we going to worship. Therefore, we present before you this very evening. We are fallible. We are blemished. But we trust in you and not in man. Therefore, this very entity, this very sceptered land that you bequeathed to our ancestors, this very place that when you were bringing us to, there was no HAUSA-Fulani anywhere to be seen. But we became so sinful that the very uncircumcised, the very, very Gentile, that is, the white people, British especially, they came, they pillaged, they killed, they colonized, and they handed over your children to those who don't know you. They handed us over to those people. And here we are today. We cannot even worship you properly. We are petitioning you, Chukwu Abiyama, in heaven. Please have mercy upon us. Have mercy upon your children. As we sang when we were younger, please, my Lord, be merciful unto your children. This wasn't your plan for us. There was no time you created us to become subservient. Can you how can your children be slaves? How can your children, your handiwork, the people that you made, how can they become subservient to those who don't worship you? Unthinkable. Is there anything that you want us to do that we are not doing? Is there any other special way? In what way have we wronged you? Are you not merciful anymore? Why are we being humiliated? Why are we being shamed this very way? We call upon your grace with every authority bestowed in us as your children to ask you to come down here to give us the courage, the strength, and the fortitude to resist this very evil that is fast advancing and enveloping your children. Never forget that we represent the light. You created us to bring light to this very darkened and hate-filled continent. The time has come for you to make us whole once again. We have sinned and we have confessed openly. We call upon you. We have nobody else if not you. Chukwu okike abiyama. We have nobody else. Nobody else. We have nobody. That is why we come to you. You are not man, Ibu Chineke. Please be merciful. Please raise your children from all over the world, from IPOB families all over this very planet. Give them the vision, the wisdom, the understanding to discern what is to come, and to render every help at their disposal to ensure that your glory will be witnessed upon this very earth, as was prayed for by Yahweh Yeshua, that your kingdom will come and your will be done on this earth as it is in heaven. So Biafra kana your Chineke. I don't want money. I don't want anything to do with wealth. All I want is Biafra, nothing more, nothing less. We are not doing anything with wealth and riches. So when you have Jaconobanko, absolutely nothing. All we ask for is Biafra. That your name may be worshipped, that you may be praised. Mankind, because of Biafra, will come back to you once again. They will say, we did everything to stop them, but they prevailed. That means that their God is very, very strong. And when they come to us and ask us, please tell us the name of this your God, we tell them, Chukwu okike abiyama. We do so that your name may be praised now and to eternity. He say,
Ofondo. Without taking any much time, once again, I am welcoming each and every one of you. Today is the 7th day of May 2022, being Saturday. I will bring in our brother, our comrade, Mazi. Please introduce yourself first before I go on. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, Mazi Paul. Go on, please.
Yes. Yeah, good evening, Biafrans. Good evening, lovers of freedom. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I in recent time, just few days ago, I've just seen what is being littered on the internet. One thing is clear.
Mazi, please,
that
can you
contraption.
Can you introduce yourself first so that I go on?
Yeah. I remain Mazi Paul Achala.
Okay.
By God's grace, a lawyer in the UK. And with more interest in immigration. So, so far as the question of protection on our salary is concerned, I happen to be a very strong authority in that area of law. Those in the UK must have known me. They know my records. I've always been around, even before IPOP started.
Okay.
Now,
okay, let me ask.
The question.
Yeah. The question, we see what is going on, the brouhaha and the twisting upon twisting of the reality in the Nigerian news media about Britain or United Kingdom, putting IPOB in the terrorist list. Please, we see that it's lie anyway, but what is your reaction to the recent UK V1 publication? Please.
Well, to start with, the UK have not always been helpful to the struggle, but the question have always been the United Kingdom cannot go behind the human rights records of Nigeria. It's not possible. There is already a well-established, properly documented documented documents that indicted the Nigerian government, that indicted the police, that indicted the army. As a matter of records, the first people to have been excluded from protection globally at the present is Nigerian police and the army. The Canadian court ruled last year that the Nigerian police force, particularly those of SARS, are excluded from being granted protection. Now, so far as this issue of human rights is concerned and protection claims are concerned, there is a criteria for that. If an individual commits an offense, so he commits an offense that ordinarily would be a criminal offense in England and Wales, that individual must be excluded. But as it stands today, there's no way the government will exclude any member of IPOB for committing any crime, because the record is very clear. Since 2015 to date, this government is about 7 years. It's 7 years and heading to 18. And heading to 8. Not a single IPOB member have been convicted of any criminal offense of any nature, no matter how small. Even if it's a common assault. Much of what we hear every day is propaganda that have not been substantiated. Some will argue, some will come up to say, oh, because our leader was not around. Of course, how about those that were around? How about the other ones? Benjamin Wabugu, rest of them who have been in Nigeria all this while. What have you done? Have their case gone any mileage? The answer is no. The truth of the matter is that the contraption is more interested in punitive rather than seeking justice in a case. Because if you go for justice, it means Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and all those thousands, if not millions of those detained illegally across various detention centers around is likely to be acquitted, because much of the raids, much of the torture, much of all these things will all count towards their case. Have you asked yourself how come they are struggling to put up a charge and all of that? So there is the Nigerian media is actually the Buhari administration is trying to do a dirty job. They are trying to, but of course the whole thing actually backfired on them by UK reacting officially to misleading report. So far as this case, so far as the report is concerned, it's not always helpful. But of course, the lawyers will always have to find their way out of those unhelpful parts. But at the moment, there is nothing damaging. But again, as a lawyer, I have to say, we must be careful with our words. For example, I'll tell you something that all of us, that self-defense is a natural right. Self-defense is natural. Even if it's your son or your daughter that you want to hit, you see him or her raising his hands, isn't there? So it's natural. Self-defense. We must insist on self-defense at every time, anytime, any day. We must defend ourselves from harm, from any aggression. We must defend ourselves from those they've already been indicted by Canadian court. They've also been indicted in the UK court. They were also indicted in Nigerian court recently by the team led by a lawyer, Jimako, did a wonderful work in Omahia, where the court, their own court, clearly declared that the invasion of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's house in September, in around September, October 2017 was illegal. Now, the head's supposed to be rolling within the hierarchy, within the military and police hierarchy, but nothing is happening. What it shows actually is that the government in question approved massacre of our people. So regardless of what it shows is that government actually approved the agency to act illegally. And that's why nobody have no reaction from the police authorities, no reaction from the army, no reaction from the almighty presidency.
So that is the question. But of course, again,
Mazi, sorry, before you continue, there is something you said that I will also want you to stretch a little bit, because you struck a nerve.
Okay.
You know, in as much as the Nigerian media, you know, twisted what Britain said. Now, you said something. You said, how come no IPOB family member has been convicted? Even one person. Said. Now, you said something. You said, how come no IPOB family member has been convicted? Even one person. Said. Now, you said something. You said, how come no IPOB family member has been convicted? Even one person. Now, you said something. You said, how come no IPOB family member has been convicted? Even one person.
They meet a bribe, whatever thing they spend, they bring him back to Nigeria illegally. What's the word? Illegally. Eventually, you put down 15 charges. Just within 2 months, within few months, that 15 charges, 8 gone. Are you telling me that the lawyer that drafted that didn't pass through Nigerian law school, or didn't? What are you telling me? So the truth is that the system is not interested in justice. They are more interested in intimidation, in harassing people, humiliating people. Possibly, if they find a way, they might sodomize the person as well. So only heaven knows what our people are going through, and that's why we must remain vigilant. We must always be vigilant and always try to locate wherever they are to make sure that we try to locate them. Once we locate them, make sure you alert the legal team, those that are involved. I must commend the effort of our lawyer Jimako, Ejiofor, and others who have been doing wonderfully. They have been doing wonderfully well. Trophy, and anybody trying to query their integrity or trying to query them somehow, always be skeptical about that person, because this team remains a formidable team. They've maintained a certain standard since 2015 to date, and I don't think it's right for anybody to try to raise question about them. The reason for I've worked with each and every one of them at different level. There are things I may not say here, but there have been issues. There have been several issues we've worked out, but I can tell you that we have an excellent team.
Okay, Mazi, let me also ask you this. What do you have to say about, just like even yesterday, I read a news headline where the so-called elders, Igbo elders or Biafra elders, so-called, that they are begging the presidency to grant pardon to Mazi Nnamdi. That word, pardon. And I was really pissed off. So,
the truth is that I respectfully disagree with that word, pardon, because they've committed no crime in the first place. But again, let me leave it to the point of maybe, this is grammar. English is not our language. Everybody try to use it as he pleases him or her. You understand? As you find comfortable. But I respectfully disagree with the word pardon, because they've committed no offense. And for you to talk about pardon, you must have secured conviction before talking about pardon. This is a typical case of a classical case of kidnapping somebody from Kenya, and some abducted from their homes where they are sleeping. Some picked up somewhere, somebody going to buy a Kanu for his daughter or something. You pick him up on the street, lump him up, dump him in the prison, and then you turn around and say, pardon him. Pardon him for what? What did he do? You see what I mean? Pardon him for what? For you to talk about pardon, then we must have established an offense and convicted the person on that offense. You then can then talk about state pardon, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it's simple. You must have established a case, pursue that case to a logical conclusion, and then somebody can then say, please pardon our son, our brother. The question really, while I agree with them on the political solution, which is something our leader have already agreed to, which is referendum. Referendum is a political solution. That is a political solution, because everybody will have a field there to tell our people where they want to belong to. If you want to, you can go to your village and say to them, vote for Nigeria. While I go to my own village and say, vote for Biafra, isn't it? That's a political solution. So we should all appreciate that we all agree. Our leader accepted political solution, which is okay for us. It's referendum, and we should all accept that. Referendum is a political solution, because everybody will have opportunity to decide to vote according to his or her conscience.
Okay. Now,
is it? That is
okay. Go on. Finish up.
Is that not political solution, isn't it, my brother? That's what I wanted to ask. You see, not political solution, because we all have to go there. You may see your papa campaigning for Nigeria, so you see a son campaigning for Biafra. That's politics. That's what it is. So I don't know. And of course, you see why they are worried. Why they are worried? The reason why they are worried is because they've treated us badly. If they've treated us so well, let's go to the ballot box. If they've treated us so well in Nigeria, if you put it the other way around, if that's a position you occupy in your family, and if you just do like this, your family will be worried, because they know you've been fair to them. But there's a way you'll be behaving. Even if you are angry, nobody will look at your face. So, because they've treated us so badly, and that's why they are afraid of referendum, because they know that the referendum will be 100% in favor. They are aware of that. So they already know the result, even before going to polling. But that's why they're resisting, and that's why they are trying as much as possible to incriminate the struggle, to taint the struggle with criminality. They are trying their very best to taint the struggle with criminality, and this is where common sense comes in. And I have to say the DOS under Chinedu is doing wonderfully well, because they're always ahead of them, trying as much as possible to distance themselves from their plan. People need to understand what is called covert operation. If you go to all this in Middle East, you see where Britain is showing their strength in covert operation. You see some of them. There are some Brits you may not know. There are some Brits in the Middle East fighting as ISIS, fighting as all sorts of things, fighting at the same time working for their people down home. So when somebody is telling you, I'm hardcore, I'm moving ahead, even if you say to me, stop, I'm going ahead, watch that person. He may not be with you, even though he's proven to be one of the strongest man pushing. He may not be. He may be working for somebody, because that particular action you are trying to take is not beneficial to you to the struggle or to our people in the long run. So whatever thing you are doing, you have to be very, very careful that the game is highly technical. It's a highly technical game. And because it's a highly technical game, it requires sense, strong sense, and discipline and humility to be able to win. God forbid if the leadership was not alive to their responsibility, this particular propaganda was in a position to succeed. The reason being that if all their plots, if they had fell into those traps, that nothing will stop UK from doing their bidding. But the leadership have always been very clever, and the tempos ahead of them in this game. So they are in our own territory. Their own territory is really committing crimes and killing and massacring people here and there. But when it comes to real thing, the real deal, which is the diplomacy, the real intel, we are ahead of them. I've so far from every indices, we are ahead of them. They are free to bring in people pretending to be whatever they are, but we know who we are.
Okay. This brings me to this. You know, you have said it, the position of, some infiltrators that
yes,
we are used, or we are, commissioned or contracted to destroy IPOB from within, which they failed. You know, it brings me on to even one tweet or what they are saying, because when IPOB leadership gives an order, they try to confuse the people, giving a counter order in order to destroy loyalty and discipline. So you have said something about it anyway, but I want you to just use another 2 minutes to also hint more on the need for loyalty, because some people might be doing something not knowing that they are being manipulated into doing it. They are ignorantly doing that thing. Please.
Yes. Well, let me start with people need to understand the concept of covert operation. Our people need to understand the concept of covert operation. Somebody could be used innocently in a covert operation. All you need to do is to come in and say, don't you know that China Sanworu said this about you? You pick up that lie. You move straight away against China Sanworu. China Sanworu then, without even say, what did I do? From there, what they have started. Do you understand? So how did it happen? Somebody just manipulated you. Very simple. Now you see how some of these things are working. You see, first they attack Director of Finance. From Director of Finance, they move. From there, they are moving gradually, and this is where we are. Now, why on earth would somebody attack Nnamdi, for example? Why? For what? She is not only accountable to IPOB, she is also accountable to German government. So she's not just accountable to, she's accountable to German government. Let me say that to you now, to everybody. So it's not like maybe in the zoo where you just come and do things anyhow, whatever you like, you do it without question. No. Every penny she tried to, she must justify it. She justifies every penny. There's no, go and put me anywhere. She justifies every penny. So those sitting somewhere and throwing questions left, right, and center, they are talking absolutely rubbish. Even though it may make sense to somebody sitting idly somewhere, may make sense to him, but to people like us with some certain privileged information, with idea of regulatory regime in Europe, we know that those questions are rubbish. They cannot stand a second of cross-examination. Okay, so let's move ahead. Okay, for example, look at it this way. That same man is telling us, people should continuously shut down their businesses, everything, every Monday. But then quickly come up to say to people that they should go about their normal business. When the man, whoever that is there in Asorok, that is how to do it. When we did it in Imo